So let me move into the future, maybe 100 years from now, and then bring you back again. I think that will help a lot. My area of specialty is within the defense sector and then intelligence. And, challenges that are solved within these sectors have a lot of benefit in terms of the civil sector. For example, the mobile phone that you are using to communication within the defense space, security, banking, all those things happened a lot over there. Even though the future, maybe beyond 100 years, will not reflect some of the reasons, because machines will play a critical role in those sectors. These challenges help us in order to have an understanding of how we can prepare for the future of agriculture. One of the challenges we face is that besides the technical one, which I'll come to, our land resources are reducing every single day. Population is increasing. When you look at Ghana, everybody wants to build. Farmlands and other lands are being used for agriculture, and climate change activities poses a lot of challenges. And we have to learn to survive within this space. So precision has become the order of the day that gives us that challenge. So 100 years onwards, we would like to know, if you eat a particular food, what will happen to you? And for us to achieve this, we have three emerging sectors that is governing that space within the space of the earth. Because even if you go beyond outside the earth, there are other challenges that is being looked at. For example, how can we farm in outer space in such a way that the resources that are limited there can be reused in order to achieve the good output of food that we need for the human body? Okay, so if we move into the precision space in terms of what we need to eat. Now, precision agriculture, precision medicine, it's key. For example, the food that you have eaten, which percentage will be positive to your system and which percentage won't be positive to your system? You don't know. Sometimes you eat it and have this effect. Your tongue can be giving you an information in terms of how you are enjoying the food, but your system, in terms of absorbing and processing this food, you might not know. So in the future, there will be sensors based on connectivity, artificial intelligence, and cybersecurity within our human bodies that will communicate with other external systems in terms of if you eat this particular amount, what will happen to you. So there will be that predictability for you to be advised as to which quantity you have to take. Likewise, also how medicine is applied to one person to the other. Two people can suffer from malaria drug, but there is a dosage that one person can take, the other one cannot take, based on how the system can absorb it. These are the things that influence and challenge us within the space of precision medicine. And the same thing boils down to precision agriculture in terms of using resources, optimizing them for plants, and also understanding the final output of the plant, okay, or the animal or the whatever, and then how it also moves through the various chains. In terms of storage, within the storage itself, you have to monitor the conditions of the storage to know the state of the food till it gets to the consumption phase and how it moves through the body and stuff like that. So that is how the future connectivity and space and other things is going to be like 100 years and beyond. And these things will be handled by artificial intelligence systems and then machines that exist within our bodies. So in looking at some of these things and where we are currently, in terms of the land not being a lot and stuff like that, you realize that there are various farming approaches that are coming, that computers are helping us understand how we can optimize conditions around plants and stuff like that. Because within the food sector, either you adapt what you are looking at, or you adapt the environment in order to achieve what you want. What do I mean? You can plant something, but the conditions around it might not be good. So you can create the condition, like how people have greenhouse farming, where they create the condition for the plant, maintaining the structure of the plant. You can also change the characteristics of the plant so that it can be adaptive in environment which it will find it difficult to perform, and also adapt to climate change activities. So these approaches and challenges that we face every day puts it in position where we have to choose best approaches in terms of farming. So, and also resource optimization. Currently, we have a lot of drip irrigation activities going on in terms of optimizing water usage. Whether you are doing natural farming, organic or inorganic farming, you still have to learn how to use those resources effectively. Because if you put in too much fertilizer or whatever into the soil, the effect and then the spread can also, you can estimate that. So precision in everything we do is the bedrock of farming today and then beyond. Then sustainability is what should govern around it in terms of how you can sustain that approach of farming. And in order to do this, technology must come in to guide us achieve these results. That is where we engage sensors and other computing approaches to help us understand what we do in the farm. So we have drones, we have other forms of robotic systems and other things that are ongoing. And it will fascinate you that some of these things are being done here. I led a team that we use computers to grow crops at areas that you think that crops will not grow. And some of this inspiration we drew when I was consulting for the Israeli government. I was in Israel several times within the defense sector. Then you realize they apply some of this precision agriculture, and then their environment is very harsh in terms of crop growth, but now they are one of the leading countries in terms of agri-tech and also precision agriculture. So I said, okay, then we can also use any soil around ourselves, adapt it in order to achieve our goals. But in order to really understand the condition, I engage my students where we grow these foodstuffs in sack, the 1 cedi bag. So in that case, we are able to use computers to guide the resources that goes to the plant and also manage it. But the beautiful thing is that we use leaves and other organic stuff to support the plant to achieve very high yield. And it can be done in urban farming and other technologies. And we use computers to actually guide us and even understand climate situations and help adapt the conditions of the environment of the plants. In this case, we've not touched the plants, but we just decided to use the computers to govern the conditions within the environment. And then we're able to get very high yield within a very small space. So technology has a key role to play, and it will continue to change the landscape of how we do farming, and that is where the focus will be. But what can we also do here? When we talk about technology, we can also develop our own approaches. Okay, so for example, with the military, where we train them in how to use sensors and other things to do things here in Ghana, we decided also to experiment and practicalize some of these things in precision agriculture. So in 2-3 years to come, if you see the GAF-C and also the signal unit developing and showcasing their precision agriculture, you should know that it has been a journey so far. I mean the Ghana Armed Forces. So these are some of the things that we can also do in order to contribute. And we can develop these technologies locally without actually looking for other external, because our conditions are different from their conditions, and we have to understand our environment and develop the technologies that we have to build in order to preserve our food. Even whether it's in a rural area, you don't have to think of how you can send maybe some complex technology there. We have to learn to develop our own technology that can be used to preserve these foods to a particular degree. And also, I will advise government that it's not about agriculture per se. We have to look at other things that support the agriculture sector. For example, we have a lot of people who read geography, some geology, and stuff like that. We need to have a database of all types of soil and stuff like that, so that we can use these computers to advise us as to where to plant, what to plant, if we understand a particular plant characteristics, making it easy. We can also integrate based on rates of farming, movement of people in a geographical area. And today it's easy to know how people are moving based on mobile phone characteristics. If you have a lot of mobile phone hooked up onto a base station and you realize these mobile phones move within a network in a particular way, then you can know the kind of, and you have Ghana card, so you can know the kind of people that are moving within these geographical areas and the kind of activities that they do. So if it is agriculture and then they produce heavy food, these data sets within the system should inform Ministry of Transport as to what kind of road they can construct in order to accommodate heavy trucks and other things that transport food, so that they will not do the road and it's a short time, it will get spoiled. So other data sets can be used to guide farming. And also within the banking sector, based on how you look at the performance of production of certain things, you can now find and assist certain approaches of farming within certain areas, knowing very well that when you give out the loans, you are going to get your money back. So connectivity of these data sets and stuff like that help drive growth. And also it can inform a bank where to set up what kind of branch and stuff like that. And also based on movement of people within networks and stuff like that, you can draw that degree of intelligence and use to inform which business can grow or whatever, because you know the characteristics of people that are moving and what they are doing. So in order not to take much time, data itself is very useful. Either active data within the space of agriculture or passive data that doesn't have any direct link, all can come together to support this growth. Thank you.
Thank you. I like that. So, I mean, just briefly, I mean, when you say you use computer to grow these plants,
Yeah.
What do you mean? How do you do that?
Okay. So, for example, where we are, we have satellite technology out there that can, based on the movement of the clouds, can tell you that it will rain here or it will not rain here. And you can also forecast the humidity and other things of the environment in which you are farming. So if the computers are connected and they are supposed to water the plants and you are doing it in open space, you will know that you don't need to water the plants during that time because it's going to rain. And based on the nature of rain that is coming to fall, you can estimate the effect even on the plant. And then when you put water, based on the soil you are using, when you put water at the top, you can, based on the amount of water, you can see the flow and how the soil soaks the water in terms of how it moves through the system. You can also further use computers to model this. So when it's about to rain, you can estimate how much effect even on the rain that will be on the side of the roots in terms of draining down the manure. Because the plant doesn't like too much water. You cannot give a particular plant water beyond what it can take.
Sure.
So you have to understand the nature of the soil, amount of rain that is coming, and also even the amount of water you have to give to these plants. And at the same time, in terms of resources that are around the plant. So you have sensors there in the soil that gives you this information from the soil and also information around the soil. Now somebody will be like, do you have to deploy these sensors across? No. You can deploy the sensors at just very few locations and assume that the rest have the same characteristics. So the computer used that sample set in order to control the rest.
Okay.
Yes, so those approaches can be used even in rural sectors. And we have edge computing. So you don't necessarily need to depend on cloud resources or internet in order to get some of these things working. Based on edge computing, the computers at the edge can reason and perform certain activities on their own. We don't have so much connected systems, but if we were to have a lot of connected systems where information okay, so let me look at it from the national security within the health sector and apply it to the agriculture for you. So if somebody visits a particular hospital and they are reporting or they are being diagnosed of certain things, maybe it's common in a particular region and it's common in another region also, maybe in a day, have about 10 of those reports, the following day, 30, then there should be a surveillance alarm that no, something is happening. Maybe either food poisoning or whatever. There have been situations where people even have food poisoning, or maybe something may be happening. It triggers the system. We need such systems also within the agriculture sector. Maybe somebody reports an armyworm somewhere, another person report whatever. Then that signal the system for us to kind of use that approach. Birds also having flu or whatever. Somebody reported it, the extension officer keying into the system, another one. The national security see these reports, or the agriculture surveillance system see this report, and quickly they can act. So computers can guide us in so many ways using these data sets in order to make informed decisions. Or another person also is using a particular farming approach that you realize that the yield is higher and kind of a thing. And you can see this from the data based on the output of the person. Then that data set inform you that we can now go and study how this person is going about this particular farming before he's getting this yield, and we can share that knowledge with others. And then they can benefit from it.
For more news, please visit our website graphic.com.gh or follow us on Facebook at Daily Graphic and on YouTube and Twitter at GraphicGH.
Subscribe now.